Very good evening. Much thanks for joining us right here on Lookuptv. The hashtag is Lookupnews. Nancy Nelima here, and on the sign language interpretation tonight is Felista Adundo. Do stay with us as we bring you all the stories that are making headlines today, as well as our conversation right here in studio. We'll be talking about genetically modified organisms and the whole dilemma and the debate that it's causing across different spheres. This is Lookupnews. Welcome to the broadcast.
The news headlines in association with
inspiring possibility.
On Lookupnews tonight, freedom under pain. Faith Njeri returns home paralyzed after 5 months of torture in Saudi Arabia.
The society therefore calls on the DPP to publicly reveal the reasons for the discontinuation of the cases.
The Law Society of Kenya slammed the Director of Public Prosecutions, Nuruddin Haji, for ending major corruption cases. And in our segment of Born a Man, we tell you the story of an ex-soldier who shares his experience in his heydays on the battlefield.
Yippee! Kamata plotting at 349k. Oh yes, for only 349,000 Kenyan shillings, you become a plot owner at the Great Oasis Gardens, Nanyuki. The Great Oasis Gardens, Nanyuki is located along the Nanyuki-Rumuruti Road, only 11 minutes from the Cedar Mall and right opposite Mount Kenya Wildlife Estate. This is the best place to establish the getaway home that you have always dreamt about. For every 349,000 that you deposit or pay as installment towards any of Optivent's plot of land, you get 10k cash back instantly. Jaza basi twende Nanyuki. Bigger is indeed better.
And Lookupnews begins now. Remember, we are coming to you live across all our social media platforms at Lookuptv on Twitter, Facebook, and on our official YouTube channel. And we begin. Faith Njeri is finally home after 5 months of alleged torture in Saudi Arabia. Njeri reportedly underwent torture by her employers in Saudi Arabia, leading to paralysis and termination of her work contract. Ndwati Kariuki now reports.
This was not Njeri when she left Kenya. A clear indication of what she has gone through in a foreign country. Just like any other Kenyan, Njeri left her motherland in search of greener pastures, but instead pain and agony took the course. 5 months out of the country that led to her pain and finally paralyzing, now left in the mercies of a wheelchair. Though a painful freedom, the family and friends expressed their joy once Njeri landed into the country, saying that Njeri's freedom had been realized.
Sina mengi ila tu kusema asanti juu tumepokea mtoto wetu na tumeona ako sawa, na hapo kwenye amebakisha tunajua tu Mungu atatenda. Ile tu kitu ningesema, nimefurahia na nimeshukuru.
After a video was shared on social media showing what she was going through, former Nairobi Governor Mike Mbuvi Sonko made a bold move of finding Njeri and bringing her back home today, resting in as the D-Day.
Sisi kama Sonko Rescue Team tunakuanga passionate kwa what we do. Na tulipata information ya Faith. Ile information yote Faith alishare kwa social media, tulikama across it, na His Excellency Mike Mbuvi Sonko akajitolea. Hata to all Kenyans mnajua Governor Mike Sonko ni a man of sympathy, a man who cares, and a man who loves.
The family of Njeri so far has thanked former governor for rescuing their daughter from Saudi Arabia.
Tumefurahia kwa government hivyo Faith amekuja, hivyo Sonko amemleta, na nimwambie tu ashughulikie tu wengine tu wako huko.
Sonko's rescue team facilitated and received Njeri at JKIA and has since admitted her in hospital since Njeri returned home paralyzed and unable to speak.
Governor alikuwa amejitolea na akasema atasaidia Faith from the start to the end. Na sahi from hapa, as you can see her condition si poa. So tuko willing, tunamchukua kutoka hapa sahi mpaka Kenyatta National Hospital for further medication.
Faith Njeri is finally home. Today's picture is just but a clear indication of what Faith has undergone in earnest to find a better life. Now the question remains, when will this end? Karaoke Nduati, Lookuptv, Nairobi.
Thank you, Nduati, for that story. Now to the corridors of justice. The Law Society of Kenya has slammed Director of Public Prosecutions Nurdin Haji for withdrawing major corruption cases against top officials, stating that the trend is a threat to the war against corruption. While speaking to the press, the LSK President Eric Theuri asked Haji to explain to the country what transpired to what he terms as mass withdrawal of cases. Shadrach Kareria with the details.
The Director of Public Prosecution, Nurdin Haji, has found himself on a receiving end hours after withdrawing corruption charges against key politicians facing graft charges. His actions have sparked attention from the Law Society of Kenya, LSK.
We have witnessed a spate of withdrawal of cases facing various suspects, and some of whom have been nominated for appointment as cabinet secretaries.
The tough-speaking LSK President Eric Theuri stated that the move poses a grave danger to the rule of law, calling on DPP Haji to come out publicly and relieve the reasons behind the successful withdrawal of high-profile cases.
The DPP must take responsibility and explain how the decision to charge was arrived at in the first instance. We all recall that some of those suspects were arrested in somewhat dramatic situations, with media press releases as to the reasons for their arrest and arraignment in court. However, the discontinuation of charges have been done silently and without any press release from the DPP.
Theuri stated that the DPP Haji owes the country an explanation as to the reasons informing the discontinuation of cases to restore confidence in his office.
We are therefore alarmed by the recent decisions by the DPP, as they point to either two very disturbing scenarios. One, that the prosecutions were mounted for ulterior purposes whose end have been achieved or overtaken by events, or two, that the DPP has withdrawn the cases to aid an ulterior motive.
Theuri has also had the judiciary, singling out the magistrate handling different cases, to insist on the DPP providing credible and cogent reasons before allowing the discontinuation of the charges. The country was drawn into a frenzy on Wednesday when the Director of Public Prosecution, Nurdin Haji, dropped some cases pending completion of the respective trials. Matters dropped include a graft case against former Kenya Power boss Ben Chumo and appointed CS Aisha Jumwa. The big question remains, is the DPP under pressure to let go those who are accused of siphoning public money? The Law Society of Kenya has now asked the Director of Public Prosecution, Nurdin Haji, to move with speed and explain to Kenyans why the withdrawal of corruption charges against those leaders. Reporting for Lookuptv from LSK offices in Nairobi County, my name is Shadrach Kareria.
Thank you, Korea, for the details. Moving on, in the past 1.5 months of President William Ruto's administration, one thing stands out: his deputy is a very busy man. Rigathi Gachagua has chaired key government functions and attended various fora in his capacity as the deputy president. President William Ruto, while unveiling his cabinet, announced that his deputy will have well-articulated roles in the running of the government. Our reporter Henry Tender looks at the deputy president, who has taken a front seat in the management of the country, giving his office a new lease of life. Here's what the report termed Busy Gachagua.
as I promised, my deputy is going to be a very busy person.
While unveiling his cabinet, President William Ruto assigned his deputy Rigathi Gachagua special roles and responsibilities in line with the Constitution. These roles were to deputize the president in execution of all functions prescribed by the Constitution. Deputy President was also charged with chairing cabinet committees. Gachagua was additionally tasked to oversee implementation of cabinet decisions across ministries and departments. He was to coordinate intergovernmental relations between the national government and the county government, including chairing of intergovernmental budgets and economic council. He was also given mandate to coordinate planning and supervise implementation of development partners' funded programs and projects. In the past 1.5 months, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has demonstrated he has embraced these functions fully. His has been a busy schedule. Rigathi has chaired key meetings in efforts aimed at finding immediate and long-term solutions to perennial effects of drought in the country. He has been instrumental in distributing relief food to adversely affected communities. The second-in-command has also taken a front seat in peace efforts, chairing security meetings with leaders drawn from areas that continue to face insecurity challenges such as Turkana, Samburu, Laikipia, West Pokot, Baringo and Elgeyo Marakwet. When President William Ruto left the country for United States of America to attend the 77th meeting of UN National Assembly on Climate Change and Food Security, Rigathi assumed key government roles, fully representing his boss. The deputy president flew to Kisumu to attend the annual School Arts Gala. In a bid to make sure the Kenya Kwanza government remains on course to implement its manifesto, Rigathi has held meeting with key stakeholders. He has had a sitting with county commissioners and rallied them to support William Ruto to fulfill his promises. The deputy president did officially open this year's agricultural show. He was the chief guest giving keynote address. In continued show of his busy schedule, Rigathi Gachagua officially opened the Working Party of the Competency-Based Curriculum Task Force formed by President William Ruto to look into the merits and demerits of the CBC program.
We must confront the challenges ahead of us, and the only way to confront those challenges is to be truthful and factual. So we are looking upon this team to go around the country, listen to everybody. The Ruto administration believes in continuous engagement to enrich his leadership.
On Thursday, Deputy President left the country to neighboring Rwanda to represent the government in youth celebration function. It is no doubt that Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua is truly a busy man, and he has assumed roles just as promised by the head of state. With this enviable relationship between the president and his deputy last, Henry Tende, Lookuptv.
Thank you, Henry Tende, for keeping up with the Deputy President. Moving on, in our weekly feature of Born a Man, we bring you the story of one Byron Adera, a 39-year-old ex-Special Forces officer who paints a picture of what it takes to be in the field as a soldier, the horrendous experience and the impact on mental health of the men in uniform. Our very own Cecilia Lubanga spent a day with the ex-military man who has since ventured into the corporate world. Take a look.
We see them during various national celebrations, mounting parades looking elegant and sharp. Sometimes we laugh when some of the demonstrations fail. But hardly does the public comprehend what it takes to become a soldier. When one signs an open check for a country to use one whenever and wherever, and when one is to live with death as a constant neighbor, it's a whole different and abnormal experience altogether. My curiosity about what it takes to serve this country as a soldier leads me to the doorsteps of a 39-year-old Byron Adera, whose recollection of 8 years of experience in the Special Defense Forces was horrendous and almost damaging to his mental health. He survived, but he has a story to tell.
Wameua msee hapo, wanashika tu wase wanatupa kwa gari. Wanaenda moja tu, hiyo imekuwa tu kazi yao ni kubeba tu na kupeleka moja.
Born, bred and raised in Nyando Sub-County, Kisumu County. Good standing citizen and a son of the soil. His fantasies and dreams as a child will see him grow to emerge the first among many equals to be selected into the Special Forces in the heydays, the Kenya Parachute Regiment in 2006 as a platoon commander. Although he participated in many successful security operations, the experience was, however, tough and scarring.
Of course, as a commander, then you have men under you for both command, leadership, and of course, you're taking care of all their welfare. And you are into 1 minute you are in the camp, and everything's all normal. The next, you are picking boulders and stones for you to actually get from Gilgil to Eldoret. It took us, more than 24 hours. There was not so much in terms of welfare going for us. So I remember pretty much, putting my head down under a truck, an army truck, in sleeping bags, and my fellow officer then was actually coming down with fever and malaria, and it was really crazy. But the most troubling of which, of course, for myself and the soldiers is when you had to pick, bodies that were burnt beyond recognition, from trucks, or when actually dogs were eating, feeding on human flesh. That became a very emotional period for us, especially then that the army was were not mandated to a huge extent to actually use extra force.
Kenya has reeled in both local and national political chaos over time, with soldiers being placed at the heart of it all. The scramble for land and the dispute in the Mount Elgon region over resettlement led to the rise of Sabot land defense forces. Government had to put its best men in place to end the terror that had loomed the region. Byron was at the center of it all.
To reckon with, to some extent, they had killed policemen, they had killed the most specialized parts of the police service, then burnt down police stations, killed loads and loads of civilians. By that time, the carnage was put to several hundreds of people that had lost their lives, and several thousands or hundreds of thousands of people had been displaced from Mount Elgon. I lost a very dear soldier to me in that jungle, the only casualty that did happen, a shot in that jungle, but he paid the ultimate price for the liberation of the populace there. No woman gets raped anymore, no man at least gets attacked, or no taxation, illegal taxation as it was.
These sons have saved the country from the shackles and menace of terror attacks and rogue assassins. Although he is now an ex-Kenya Special Forces officer, his experience became the cornerstone of his foundation and defining moments in his life.
We extend the gospel of awareness, both fitness, mental and physical, and to ventilate over, critical societal issues like, of course, mental health, as I just said, and other things that are affecting us as a society today, through expeditions, be it hikes like what we are doing, and of course by extension we're actually also preaching the environmental angle, of course the protection of the environment, live in clean environments, and always shun bad practices that also threaten the nature and the livelihoods of humans practically, but of course through the protection of the environment and conservation of the same.
It's every soldier's pride to protect a nation or complete his or her mission successfully. However, they hardly come back home the same. For Byron, he lost a family he held dearly due to the impact the wars had on his mental health.
If you are in the very most specialized of these units like the Special Forces, and you're the guys in the country dials 911, for the most, gravest of dangers, or the most complex of its threats, then it's calling you. Then you can imagine what that does to you. When you then get into business and in the unfortunate, appearance of, say, someone losing their life, or someone getting killed, or someone getting dismembered, someone getting blown off right in your face, or someone yourself getting shot, it gets to affect you. It doesn't leave you unchained. I mean, huge loss, and you were in a complete darkness. My life was on autopilot. I can't remember quite a few things. People remind me of what was happening in my neighborhood, who I was, and I literally can't remember quite a portion of my life. Some of these things can really change your perspectives going forward, can really change who you are. And sad for a lot of guys who get changed for the worst. You've heard of cases of people taking their own lives, people, I try to move away from the word committing suicide, So they take their own lives, which is, again, not very normal. So if you are to sit somewhere and you're trying to write a book about how the process of someone getting to a point where they shoot someone or shoot their wife, shoot all their children, or kill them in cold blood, or strangle them and then hang themselves, it will sound and feel very irrational. But if you are to look at that side by side with the ravages of mental illnesses, then things start to make sense.
A success it was, as Byron puts it, but the mission has had consequences on those who undertook them, the experience almost damaging to one's sanity. Over time, Byron has been able to contextualize and understand what he ought to do and how he should do it. However, a good number of individuals already in the defense forces and those joining remain exposed to the damaging effects of war. The Uhuru Kenyatta regime saw his government beef up the security sector, including the improvement of housing and medical services to the men in uniform. Will that go an extra mile to counter the suicide and poor mental health cases among the men in defense forces? The selfless service.
Thank you, Cecilia Lebanga, for that very beautiful story. Remember, Born a Man is our weekly feature right here on Lookuptv, and it's 6 to talk about all the pain that men go through to tell beautiful stories later in life. We do have to take the very fast break here on the broadcast, but remember, we'll be coming back with the opinion matters as well as a conversation right here in studio. We'll be talking about GMO, the genetically modified organisms, and the whole conversation that ban being lifted has caused. Don't go too far.
Vera Beauty and Fashion College is focused on being the leading technical and vocational training institute in the region. Our team possesses in-depth knowledge and extensive experience in the industry, offering thorough training in cosmetology, hairdressing, interior design, creative arts, training of trainers, nail technology, and fashion design. With branches in Nairobi, Thika, Meru, Eldoret, and now in Mombasa, our courses ensure that learners are completely equipped with knowledge, competency, and employability skills. Enroll today to be a part of a center of excellence.
For all your football, F1, and World Cup kits, Carrington Sportswear Hub is your plug for quality, sporty merchandise. Reach out on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Lookuptv or call us on 0700 893 542.
Yippee! Kamata plotting at 349k. Oh yes, for only 349,000 Kenyan shillings, you become a plot owner at the Great Oasis Gardens, Nanyuki. The Great Oasis Gardens, Nanyuki is located along the Nanyuki-Rumuruti Road, only 11 minutes from the Cedar Mall and right opposite Mount Kenya Wildlife Estate. This is the best place to establish the getaway home that you have always dreamt about. For every 349,000 that you deposit or pay as installment towards any of Optivent's plot of land, you get 10k cash back instantly. Jaza basi twende Nanyuki. Bigger is indeed better.
Welcome back. This is Lookup News. Nancy Nelima here and Felista Adundo on the sign language interpretation. In today's segment of Opinion Matters, we ask you what would you like to be added or removed in the ongoing debate on CBC stalemate. Our reporter Ian Keitani delves more into this.
Debate surrounding the CBC curriculum. We sought to know what exactly should be done away with in the curriculum.
This CBC si system mbaya. The problem ile tuko nayo na CBC ni walimu wana exploit wazazi. Huwezi itisha watoto wote wakuja na kuku ichinjwe sababu mnataka kuangalia gizzard. Hiyo ni kuexploit wazazi. Halafu kuna vitu wanaitisha ambazo pia hazifai. Hauwezi itisha mtoto wa grade 1 akuje na uzi na shindano, na hiyo shindano akikuja nayo hata hakuna kitu inafanya kwa hiyo shule. So kama serikali inaweza tusaidia i-control walimu wasiweze kuexploit wazazi, CBC sioni ikiwa mtaala mbaya.
Serikali iangalie sana kwa sababu gharama yake iko juu. Unapata kwamba watu wengine wajiwezi na wanaitishwa vitu ambazo zinahitaji pesa kila wakati. Na istoshe unapata kwamba mzazi pia ana hata labda lisho kwa nyumba ya kulisha mtoto, lakini pesa inatumia kwenda kwa shule ni mingi hata kuliko ile chakula ananunua kwa nyumba.
Kila mzazi analia sana kwa CBC. Kila mzazi analia ni ile hali ya iko expensive. Sasa kama unaona nimetoka kasi, nimechoka, mtoto ndio anataka kuniambia dadi, hebu nionyeshe hii. Dadi, hebu nionyeshe hii. Sasa wewe mwenyewe umechoka. Haya vitu ile anataka hakuna, inafaa ununue. Pesa hauna. Sasa kunilikuwa napiga sawa chusi, nikaona mtoto mmoja anasomia 1500. Uko na watoto wanne. Hebu niambie pesa zao wapi?
Mambo ya CBC siwezi sema ni mbaya kulingana na vile imekuwa. Being a parent, niko na watoto wawili wako CBC, kuna yule ako class 5 na mwingine ako class 3. Shida tu nimeona na CBC, badala ya mtoto kusoma imerudi ni mzazi anasoma, kwa sababu sasa hakuna vile sasa utaambia mtoto akuje na gari ya waya. I think hii projects hizi zote za CBC zinafaa zifanywe shuleni, kwa sababu kusema mtoto akuje afanyie nyumbani, hiyo sasa usaidii mtoto. Juu sasa mwenye anaifanya ni mzazi, na mzazi akishafanyia mtoto ndiye atapeleka kitu very creative kwa shule, lakini at the end of the day sio mtoto amefaidika, ni mzazi amechoka. Niko na mtoto class 3 anaambiwa apelekwe swimming na mzazi aandike report kama ana mtoto anajua kuswim. Surely kama sina pesa ya kulipia mtoto swimming, what do I do? Nitaandika nilimpeleka swimming. Of course hakuna swimming ameenda, lakini nimejaza mtoto ameswim. So I think some of these things are supposed to be organized kwa shule kwenyewe.
CBC si mbaya, lakini kuna vitu kadhaa tunaweza taka angalau zitolewe juu kwa si wakaaji wa Nairobi. Napata kuna challenges. Mtoto anaitishwa kriso, umetoka kasi usiku na shinda utaitafuta wapi. Mwingine anaitishwa zile nini za kutengeneza kamba, na shinda utaitoa wapi saa hizo. Sasa kuna vitu tu kadhaa wanafaa kuregesha senye msasi hawezi pata usiku.
Mimi am so much confused. Juu sasa mtoto anafika class 6 anaambiwa aende secondary. Na nikiangalia watoto wangu naona ni wadogo sana kuwatuma secondary either mbali. Unajua sometimes it's very hectic. Kwa hivyo nafikiria CBC hata ikitengenezwa wafanye wale watoto ambao wako class 6 waende in the same primary school, junior high school.
It is evident that many parents are happy with the curriculum. However, most of them are concerned with the expense that comes with the curriculum, asking the government to intervene. Ian Keitani, Lookuptv, Nairobi.
Flying through the streets of